Good evening. Welcome to California Today. I'm Liang Zhang. Here is a preview of some of today's stories. Governor Newsom declared a state of emergency due to the winter storms in 13 counties, including the hardest hit San Bernardino County. The California National Guard has been sent to support the rescue operations. And the former Theranos CEO Elizabeth Holmes is citing her newborn child as another reason she should be allowed to delay the start of her prison sentence. Her lawyers are appealing her conviction for defrauding investors. Senator Dianne Feinstein has been hospitalized in California. Her spokesperson told the Chronicle on Thursday that she's being treated at a hospital for shingles. Her location is not disclosed. The 89-year-old was diagnosed in late February and expects to fully recover. The viral infection causes painful rashes, though not life-threatening. It can be very painful. It is more frequent in adults over 50. Just as one state of emergency ends, another has been declared. Residents in mountainous regions are still trapped by the recent winter storm. So Governor Gavin Newsom is declaring a state of emergency in over a dozen counties. The declaration covers 13 counties, including Los Angeles and Santa Barbara counties. San Bernardino County is among the hardest hit. Authorities there had conducted almost 100 rescues by Wednesday evening. The California National Guard has been deployed to help dig out communities in the mountains trapped by the heavy snow. According to the National Weather Service, some parts of California received more than 100 inches in the last week. And another winter storm is expected to move into Northern California this weekend. According to PowerOutage.us, over 70,000 homes and businesses remained without power in the state as of today. Theranos CEO Elizabeth Holmes, who was convicted for fraud over her company, has recently given birth to her second child. She is citing her recently born child as another reason she should be allowed to delay the start of her prison sentence.
Court documents filed last week in a San Jose courtroom in advance of a March 17th hearing confirmed the birth of Elizabeth Holmes' second child. Holmes is hoping to remain free during an appeals process that could take years to complete. She is citing her recently born child as another reason she should be allowed to delay the start of her more than 11-year prison sentence. The filing didn't disclose the date of birth or the child's gender, but the news isn't a surprise. 38-year-old Holmes was pregnant at the time of the November 18th sentencing, where a jury convicted her on 4 felony counts of fraud and conspiracy. In addition to her children, her lawyers are contending that an array of mistakes and abuses made during her trial make it likely her conviction will be overturned. They also point to Holmes' unblemished record. Her lawyers say, while free on bail during the 4.5 years since her criminal indictment, she isn't a flight risk or a danger to the community.
President Biden announced his nomination for U.S. Secretary of Labor. She hails from California, but some are criticizing Biden's choice due to an EDD fraud case that took place in 2020 under her leadership.
It's my honor, and I mean it sincerely, my honor to nominate Julie Su to be our next Secretary of Labor.
If confirmed, Julie Su will become the only Asian American in Biden's cabinet, fulfilling a call by some Democrats in Congress.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your words and for your trust.
Su is the current Deputy Labor Secretary and would replace the departing incumbent, former Boston Mayor Marty Walsh. In a statement, Biden touted Su's credentials. Julie is a champion for workers, and she has been a critical partner to Secretary Walsh since the early days of my administration. She helped avert a national rail shutdown, improved access to good jobs free from discrimination through my Good Jobs initiative, and is ensuring that the jobs we create in critical sectors like semiconductor manufacturing, broadband, and healthcare are good-paying, stable, and accessible jobs for all. But critics of the nomination pointed to California's 2020 fraudulent unemployment payments case. California's Employment Development Department, or EDD, admitted that between March 2020 and January 2021, it paid nearly $11.4 billion in fraudulent claims. Later, EDD identified an additional 17% in fraud payments, bringing the total to nearly $31 billion lost. This took place under Sue when she served as Secretary for California's Labor and Workforce Development Agency, which oversees EDD. For now, Sue will serve as the acting secretary until the Senate decides on her nomination. Soon, if you're making a purchase at a California store, you may not get a paper receipt unless you request one. A reintroduced law called Skip the Slip is making its way through the legislature. NTD's David Lam has more.
Assembly Bill 1347, also known as Skip the Slip, was reintroduced on Thursday by Assemblymember Phil Ting, aiming to reduce the number of printed receipts in California businesses. In addition, businesses will face penalties if the printed receipts contain bisphenol A or bisphenol S.
AB 1347 is very simple. It requires California businesses to print out a receipt only when the consumer asks for one. And if they don't comply, they get 2 warnings. Otherwise, they get fined $25 a day after that violation, with a maximum violation of $300 per year.
The bill states that the Ecology Center found that 93% of paper receipts are coated with BPA or BPS chemicals. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has banned BPA from baby bottles because the chemicals are known to disrupt hormones.
This is not forcing any retailer to not give a paper receipt. This is paper receipts upon demand. This is just allowing the consumer to make that choice.
We asked some locals to share their thoughts on the proposal.
They hand it to me, and the first thing I do is crumple it up, throw it away.
Me personally, I think that having your receipts printed out to you is kind of like a waste, because I am about saving the trees, and I feel like most of the people will lose their receipts, they misplace them or somewhere.
Paper receipts must also not contain, quote, items non-essential to the transaction, such as coupons or advertisements. Leba Guerra prefers digital receipts by email.
Emailed to you directly, because it's in your phone, and it's an easier way to find it. People that don't have devices, it's understandable, because the majority of the population around here, and there's a lot of our homeless impact, it's really bad.
Existing law already prohibits certain stores from providing a single-use carryout bag to a customer and prohibits full-service restaurants from providing single-use plastic straws to consumers unless requested by the consumer.
Now, we spoke to 2 retail businesses. One business doesn't print receipts, but they record things manually on paper and give out their invoices that way. This bill doesn't affect them that much, but if things were to go digital in the future, it may be a costly investment for them. Now, another business is already digital, whereas their information, customers' information, is already saved in the database. If this bill were to pass, it would go into effect in January 2024. David Lam, NTD News, San Jose, California.
We have another update on the January shooting that took place in Goshen. A second suspect has pleaded not guilty to illegal gun charges and the alleged murder of 6 family members. The county sheriff called the massacre a cartel-like slaying and that the district attorney may be seeking the death penalty.
35-year-old Angel Nanu Uriarte of Goshen pleaded not guilty on February 21st for 6 counts of murder and firearms possession. Uriarte, along with 25-year-old Noah Beard of Visalia, were both arrested on February 3rd. Beard pleaded not guilty 5 days later. The Tulare County District Attorney says that both suspects were charged with 6 counts of murder and numerous other allegations, including illegal firearms possession and committing the murders to further the activities of a criminal street gang. According to the Sheriff's Department, the early morning massacre on January 16th left 6 people dead, including a teen mother and her 10-month-old baby. Investigators are still unclear of the motive. In a January 17th press conference, Tulare County Sheriff Mike Boudreau said, quote, "None of this was by accident. It was intentional." He says the massacre of an entire family goes above and beyond usual gang rival behavior, leading the sheriff to conclude it was a, quote, high-level gang-style shooting. A spokesman for the county district attorney's office told the Epic Times that both suspects will be tried together. Tim Ward, the Tulare County district attorney, says he may ask for the death penalty in both cases. A preliminary hearing conference is set for March 15th, and a hearing is scheduled for March 20th.
We're going to take a short break, but here's a look at what we got for you when we come back. The Riverside District Attorney is calling on state lawmakers to pass a bill that cracks down on drug dealers. If their customers died of an overdose or poisoning, the dealer could receive murder charges. The family of the late Kobe Bryant has agreed to a $28.5 million settlement with the Los Angeles County. The widow of the NBA star sued for invasion of privacy over photos from the helicopter crash site in 2020. And a bald eagle pair in Southern California is tending to a set of new eggs. Even in howling blizzard, the birds take turns protecting their eggs. That and more on California Today. Welcome back to California Today. I'm your host, Ling Zhang. Riverside District Attorney Mike Hestron is taking steps to prosecute those who are responsible for deaths caused by fentanyl. He hopes to bring justice to families who have lost loved ones due to fentanyl. NTD's Jackie Rios spoke with parents who also hope to bring attention to this crisis.
Riverside County officials met on Tuesday to discuss the impacts of fentanyl in the region. They are also asking state lawmakers and the public to support a bill that would allow murder charges against people who knowingly sell or give fentanyl to someone and that person dies as a result.
Today I want to highlight a different aspect, and that is the prosecution aspect. In Riverside County at the state level, since 2021 when we started taking a tough stance on fentanyl, we have prosecuted 21 offenders and 20 cases for murder for fentanyl poisoning. That's the most in the state. We're the first to take this approach.
Riverside District Attorney Mike Hestron and DEA Special Agent Bill Bodner discussed the prosecution efforts they have taken in tackling the fentanyl crisis.
We've investigated several cases where a single drug dealer poisoned and/or killed multiple victims in the span of a couple days. Without law enforcement intervention, this cycle of drug distribution and resulting harm continues unchecked. Yesterday's sentencing of Brandon McDowell marks the third time a defendant charged with distribution resulting in death was sentenced in the Riverside branch of the Federal District Court in the past 19 months.
Also at the press conference was Matt Capelouto. He lost his daughter Alexandra Capelouto to fentanyl. The man responsible for Alexandra's death was sentenced on Monday in Riverside, which officials noted is rare. Capelouto carried his daughter's urn to the courthouse for the sentencing.
It was a day that we honestly thought might never happen. Justice for Alex, accountability for the defendant. We are grateful and lucky to have received any justice at all, and we know it. The drug dealer responsible for deceiving my daughter to death by selling her a counterfeit oxycodone pill made with a lethal dose of fentanyl. And I want to point out that people refer to that as an accidental overdose. There's nothing accidental, and that is not an overdose. My daughter was poisoned, and if she was poisoned, that is murder.
Other parents who have lost sons and daughters due to fentanyl also hope to raise awareness of the dangers of the deadly drug.
And when I brought the evidence over to the police department and the district attorney's office, they said there's nothing they could do about it because it was a drug overdose.
Cole and Capelouto, along with the officials present, are asking lawmakers and the public to support Senate Bill 44, also known as Alexandra's Law. They say it would be a game changer because it would allow judges to charge drug dealers for murder or intent to harm.
And this admonishment provides the evidence that's needed, which is known as implied malice. It shows that the drug dealer knows and is aware of what they are doing. They clearly know the dangers of the drugs they are pushing. Now state prosecutors have the evidence they need to charge this person with murder because they're going to be able to essentially prove this person knew the dangers of what they were doing.
Hestrin also called on Sacramento lawmakers to support local leaders and give them the resources needed to prosecute fentanyl-related deaths.
But I do want to say one thing to Sacramento and to all of our lawmakers that go to Sacramento, assembly members, senators, the governor, help us. It's time that you helped us. Help the people of your state. We're asking you to take a look and pass the laws and give us the tools to protect our citizens. It's simple as that.
SB 44 is headed to the Senate Public Safety Committee for consideration on March 22nd. Jackie Rios, NTD News, Riverside, California.
Some of California's community colleges don't have enough full-time faculty, as some misspend state funds intended for full-time professors on part-time adjuncts. That's according to a February report by the state's auditor. The report partially faults the California Community College Chancellor's Office for a lack of oversight and a faulty metric to measure the district's part-time and full-time professors. The report found that all 4 districts fell short of the state's long-standing goal to have 75% of instruction taught by full-time faculty. There are currently about 35,000 part-time faculty across the state's 116 community college campuses, while full-time professors make up just half that number at 17,000. The audit called on the Chancellor's office to hold districts accountable for how they spend state funds. Los Angeles County will pay Kobe Bryant's wife nearly $29 million. Bryant filed a lawsuit over graphic photos of Kobe and his 13-year-old daughter being shared by officers. Vanessa Bryant alleged the invasion of privacy in her lawsuit. She accused the members of the LA County Sheriff's and Fire Departments of sharing images of the crash in unofficial settings, including to random customers in a drinking bar. Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gianna, and 7 other people died in the crash in 2020. Bryant was 41 when he died. The Los Angeles Lakers great and 18-time All-Star won 5 NBA championships and was elected to the Hall of Fame in 2020. We're back with an update on the beloved bald eagle pair, Jackie and Shadow. Their previous youngling spread its wings and left the nest last fall. The two are now caring for 2 more eggs.
Bald eagles Jackie and Shadow have spent time together caring for their 2 new eggs. Camera footage from Friends of Big Bear Valley shows that Jackie's method for handling bad weather is to sleep through it as much as possible. But no worries, when she woke up, she shook off all of the snow and her waterproof feathers kept her completely dry, even under her snowy shelter. According to Friends of Big Bear Valley, who keeps a close eye on Jackie and Shadow, the eggs have not yet shown any sign of hatching. The exact reason is not clear. They could have been unfertilized or could have stopped developing somewhere along the process for any of a variety of conditions and reasons. Jackie and Shadow are both still taking good care of their eggs. According to their history, they may continue to do that for up to a few weeks before they decide to give up on the eggs hatching. Shadow, the male, has historically shown more resiliency than Jackie to give up on the eggs. Unfortunately, unhatched eggs may be preyed upon by other birds or be left to be buried into the nest. Friends of Big Bear Valley leave it in the hands of nature, trusting that Mother Nature knows best.
Now let's check in with NTD's Tyler Castillo for today's Sports Roundup.
I'm Tyler Castillo, taking you through the California Today Sports Roundup.
With LeBron James and Anthony Davis out, Dennis Schroeder scored 26 points to lift Los Angeles over host Oklahoma City for its 5th win in its last 7 games. Also missing D'Angelo Russell, the Lakers got a balanced offensive effort as 5 other players scored in double figures, and 4 Lakers players hit at least 3 3-pointers, including 4 from Troy Brown Jr. James missed his 2nd consecutive game with a foot injury, and Davis sat out with a stress injury in his right foot. Jalen Williams led Oklahoma City with 24 points and chipped in 7 assists, while Josh Giddey added 22 points, 11 assists, and 9 rebounds. The Thunder were without All-Star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for the 4th consecutive game with an abdominal strain. Gilgeous-Alexander also remains in the league's health and safety protocol. Lakers 123, Thunder 117. Palm Wilson scored his 2nd goal of the game at 1:09 of overtime as Washington opened a 3-game California swing by edging Anaheim. In the extra period, TJ Oshie skated in along the right boards and centered the puck to Wilson, who was crashing the net. Martin Perhavery also scored for Washington, and Darcy Kemper made 21 saves. Troy Terry scored a goal in his 4th consecutive game for the Ducks, who had won 3 straight, and Trevor Zegras had a goal and an assist. Anaheim goalie John Gibson stopped 36 shots, his 16th consecutive start with 30 or more saves. Capitals 3, Ducks 2. The Padres, which have never won a World Series title, finalized a $350 million 11-year contract with Manny Machado last Tuesday, making it the 4th largest deal in baseball history. Machado gets a $45 million signing bonus, of which $10 million is payable this year on December 1st and $5 million on the 1st of December from 2027 through 2033. He receives salaries of $13 million in each of the next 3 seasons, $21 million in 2026, and $35 million annually from 2027 through 2033. Machado gets a full no-trade provision, a hotel suite on road trips, and the right to purchase a luxury suite, and 4 premium tickets to all home games. He agreed to make a charitable contribution of 1% of his salary each season. Machado, who's also helped turn the Padres into a World Series contender, finished 2nd in the NL MVP race last year as San Diego reached the NL Championship Series before losing to Philadelphia.
And that's the sports roundup for today.
That's all we've got for you tonight. We would like you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8:30 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcasts on our California Today webpage. You can find it at ntd.com/California-today. You can also find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with friends and family. Send us a message on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or through our email, california.today@ntd.com. I'm Ling Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.